Hey YouTubers, welcome to a very special movie spotlight review of Gareth Edwards' Godzilla on Blu-ray DVD combo pack. Now, for all of you that have been following me on my YouTube channel, you should know by now that basically I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so there was no doubt, no reason to even doubt that I was not going to pick this movie up. I saw it in theaters, I loved it so much, so of course I was going to pick it up. Any Godzilla fan, of course, would pick this movie up, regardless of what people thought of it. You know, honestly, I thought it was a fantastic film. You know, all the performances all the way around were absolutely amazing. They were great. They were spot on. The new design of Godzilla, you know, again, going back to the traditional look of Godzilla, so that was actually fantastic. It was great that they did that. You know, all the choices that Gareth Edward made, you know, in terms of putting this film together were absolutely amazing. You know, there's really nothing for me to have to really complain about overall. I mean, there are a few minor things that I may have to, you know, have a criticism about, but they're so minor, you know, but I know other people, because I've spoken to other people that, seen the film, or I've read reviews, and of course, a lot of these small things that I have gripes with, a lot of people have have a big deal with, you know, and it's the reason why they didn't like the film. And of course, one of the most obvious things, of course, is that yes, you don't see Godzilla as much as you would think, you know, he should be shown, being that it is a Godzilla film. So you would think that they would show him more, but they don't. You know, you see the Mutos actually a lot more often. But honestly, you know, I'm fine with that, because the moments that you do see Godzilla, they're so epic in terms of how they were shot, camera angles, just the amount of destruction that happens with Godzilla, especially when he's fighting the Mutos later on. You know, that whole 15-minute thing at the end, where the actual battles actually happen, are absolutely amazing. And I like the way they were done, they were shot, you know. There's just so much. I mean, the premise is basically, you know, weird things are happening. They soon discover that there are these ancient beasts that used to roam on Earth back when there was more radiation on the surface as opposed to now. So basically the monsters start emerging in the form of these Mutos. And then the whole idea that there was an alpha predator, you know, ancient beast that used to roam the Earth before, you know, the radiation went down, you know, appears, and that is basically Godzilla. So basically, he's the, you know, the creature that's tasked with trying to make sure that there's balance on Earth, in terms of, you know, monsters not running, you know, amok, trying to get a little bit too big for themselves, so to speak. But anyway, that's pretty much the premise, and then you have, you know, the regular characters going around trying to figure out why these Mutus are appearing, why Godzilla's there, and what they plan to do in terms of trying to get rid of all the monsters. But unfortunately, you know, they don't. Godzilla takes care of everything, and you know, I don't want to give away too much of the film for those of you that haven't watched it, because I definitely recommend, if you're a big, huge Godzilla fan and you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely, absolutely, you have to watch this movie, regardless of what you may have heard or things like that. Because honestly, those gripes, they're so minor in comparison to the overall, you know, look of the film. It's absolutely amazing. Again, I can't credit Gareth Edwards enough for what he's done with this film. I believe Max Bernstein was the one that wrote the script, so absolutely, you know, he did a fantastic job. It does, you know, do a lot in terms of playing homage to the original 1954 black and white Japanese Gojira, or Godzilla, film. And it does a really good job of paying homage to that. Of course, it does, you know, go a little bit on trying to make itself new for, you know, modern audiences. You know, the whole idea that Godzilla wasn't really necessarily a creature born or created by the atomic age, but more like it was already an existing creature that existed on Earth way before the dinosaurs. You know, back again, like I said before, when there was a lot more radiation on the planet's surface as opposed to now. So the idea that, you know, he existed way before that and was there, you know, and it was just dormant all this time, and because of the nuclear testing, kind of reawakened him and caused him to come back up to the surface. But not only him, but also the other monsters, the Mutos, as well. So I mean, that kind of twist in there's absolutely, you know, it's still kind of, it harks on the original a bit, but it's a new direction. I really did enjoy what they did with that. Again, character performances, Bryan Cranston playing the father, you know, he does an amazing job in there, you know, trying to figure out what killed his wife at the beginning of the film, and pretty much how you see him spiral into this kind of like madness, just because he wants to figure out, you know, what's going on, what it is that the Japanese government is hiding, until they actually, you know, he sees it for himself that there are monsters that do exist. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who plays his son, you know, he does a decent job, you know, playing that military role, you know, going around from here and there, trying to figure out how they can try to stop Godzilla and the Mutos while trying to keep his family safe. Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Aaron Taylor Johnson's wife in the film, she's good. She's good in there. Does that that role pretty well. Ken Watanabe, who plays Dr. Shirazawa, which is a character that was introduced in the original 1954 Godzilla film as well. He does a pretty good job as well. Trying to portray that character. And who else was in? Sally Hawkins was in the film, also playing Dr. Shirazawa's assistant. She was okay in this film as well. And that's pretty much it for the major characters that were part of the film cast. Now, going into that, one of the criticisms that a lot of people have, and I also have to give it, but again, it's so minor, is that certain characters just didn't get enough, screen time, or they didn't get enough of a story, that would have helped further develop the overall story of the film itself, and that there were certain characters that got a little bit too much, of a story that, as opposed to others. And one of the things, of course, is obviously Bryan Cranston. I was really hoping that Bryan Cranston would have had a larger role in this film, but unfortunately his role was pretty small, and I'm not going to dive into anything specific in terms of why it was so short, because for those of you that have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you that haven't, you have to watch it just get what I'm trying to say anyway. But I kind of feel like his role could have been expanded a little bit more, since he was the one that basically did all this research to find out the idea of echolocation and the calls. So I felt like his character could have been developed a little bit more, to be fleshed out, to have more screen time. In addition to Ken Watanabe's character, who plays Dr. Shirazawa, his character, of course, even though he's in the entire film, he could have had more of a development also in terms of trying to figure out, why Godzilla's here again. Because there's an interesting backstory with him that I'm going to share with you a little bit later concerning with something else that I picked up as well, dealing with the film. And, more of his background could have been shared in the film to kind of give the audiences, reasons for why he's pursuing wanting to see Godzilla so much since the beginning of the film. And having those two characters kind of like interact more could have actually, just opened up, a whole new perspective on the history and the legend and the new perspective on Godzilla as the creature for this film in this new universe. So I felt like those characters could have been developed a little bit more. Aaron Taylor Johnson, again, a lot of people felt that the film kind of focused on his character, again, a new family dynamic in there. And, again, I was okay with it, but yeah, maybe if they kind of shared it also with, Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe's character, also, further developing, their roles in the film, also could have, just helped to complement what Aaron Taylor Johnson's character and Elizabeth Olsen's character were doing on the opposite end as well. So that was one of, again, one of the things that a lot of people criticized about the film is that, the direction was not where they would have liked it to have gone. But honestly, it was a minor thing for me. I didn't really, it didn't really make me enjoy the film any less than what it was. I enjoyed it for what it was entirely. And every time Godzilla got, to appear on screen, when I was sitting in the theater, of course, I would tense up because it's a Godzilla film and it's finally being portrayed the way it should be. It erased that bad memory we have of 1998, Godzilla film, the other American, which won't be called Godzilla, but it's just called Zilla, you know what I'm talking about anyway. Just erased that completely out of our minds, so it was great that this film came out and it was portrayed this way. And, just the monster sequences. I mean, I do like actually the character designs for the two Mutos, the male and female Mutos, that were really, really great and fantastic. It was unique, it was new for a Godzilla film. So I give the designers a lot of credit for coming up with these designs and pushing them through for the film. A lot of Easter eggs that were mentioned that I didn't actually see them when I saw the film itself in theaters, but I read about it later, and another friend of mine that saw it also pointed these things out to me. But there are several Easter eggs pertaining more to monsters that will probably appear in the now confirmed sequel for Godzilla, and one of them, of course, is Mothra. And yes, I do see the name Mothra written out when Bryan Cranston's character and Aaron Taylor Johnson's character go back to their old home, and they're trying to retrieve those discs. Like, you do see the the name Mothra, but actually it's because I believe it's actually two words that were placed together. But the way the scene was shot and the way the lighting was, or what's revealed, is like you see the actual word Mothra in between. So that's kind of like an Easter egg in there. And that's the only thing I can think of right now. There were other things too, but I think from what I've read elsewhere before on the internet, I think they've confirmed Mothra, King Ghidorah, and probably Rodan to probably appear for the sequel, of the Godzilla films. And again, this film did absolutely so well that I'm hoping that it's now a continuation. When the sequel comes out, will be even better than the first one. But I hope that this, and of course, in addition with Pacific Rim that came out, a few months, back before this one. But I hope this is kind of like the beginning of American cinema kind of taking monster movies a little bit more seriously and actually portraying them in a much more serious tone now, especially with Godzilla having that serious tone that it has. Again, I mean, the overall arc is, nuclear technology, or mankind getting a little bit too big for themselves and trying to take care of everything, but unfortunately you can't. You should really kind of step aside and just let nature, do what it does best. And in this case, let Godzilla do what he does best. Beat the crap out of other monsters, right? So, I really enjoyed all of that was done with this film. So I definitely say, if you haven't seen it, you have to watch this movie, especially if you're a Godzilla fan. If you have, definitely pick it up, watch it again. I've seen a lot of the special features in here. There's a lot of little short documentaries in terms of the making, speaking with Gareth Edwards, speaking to the cast of the film, and just hearing their take and their perspectives and what they enjoyed so much about this film, and actually just seeing and hearing Bryan Cranston talk so much about his excitement of being a part of this project, and referring back to the old Godzilla films that he watched as well. So it was a lot of fun. And the other thing that I picked up that I mentioned before is that I went to Midtown Comics, just looking around browsing, and I found this thing that I wasn't expecting to find, and I bought it. And I actually picked up Godzilla Awakening, the graphic novel that accompanies, the film. And this is kind of like a bit of a prequel to the actual Godzilla film, because it actually follows the character of Dr. Shirazawa, actually. Well, not him exactly, because he's a boy, but you follow his father's character, because his father's character is the first one that actually sees Godzilla and, does the reporting and, starts collecting data on the appearances of Mutas, and he's the one that develops the idea of, the Earth being what it was before, and this is why the monsters survived on the planet, and why they went into hiding and submerging themselves deep underground or underwater. And the art style kind of reminds me a little bit of how the art style of the first couple of issues of The Walking Dead were. It has that particular type of art style, but it's absolutely amazing just seeing a little bit of the backstory here in terms of why the monsters went dormant and then came alive when the nuclear testing started happening, all leading up to the opening credits of the Godzilla film anyway, where you see Godzilla get nuked, and the reasoning and for why that happened, and how it was a big cover up for the governments of the world. But overall, I thought it was a really good quick read. There are a lot of things in here still that I still have to question, because part of the origin story that's a part of this graphic novel still kind of leaves me thinking like, oh well, really, is it really like that? Could have they done something a little bit more? Could have this graphic novel actually been a little bit longer than what it was? It's pretty. It's not huge. It's pretty short, for a graphic novel. But again, the art style in here is top notch. As a matter of fact, I liked this little design of Godzilla in kind of like a fetal position. I really liked that a lot. But overall, it's a really good read. So if you have the chance, definitely pick it up. I know Best Buy is selling the paperback version. Still the same size, it's just that it's not hardcover of this. And I believe you can get it at a cheaper price if you buy it with the Blu-ray DVD combo pack at Best Buy. So definitely, if you like that, definitely pick it up. It's worth a read, just so you can see a little bit of, the backstory leading into the film itself. And again, overall, guys, I really enjoyed this movie. Coming from a true Godzilla fan, I have to say that yes, this really does live up to the old traditional Godzilla films in its own way, and it's fantastic. It's absolutely amazing. So I definitely recommend it for anyone that hasn't picked it up. So absolutely, guys. So that's basically what I have to say. For this special spotlight review of Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely like the video if you like what I had to say about this film. Share this video around, guys, so that other people can see what my comments are. Share your comments with me as well. What did you think of the film? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And just give me all those details, all right, guys? So, as always, stay safe. Keep watching films. Keep watching monster movies as much as you want. And I'll catch you guys next time, all right?